There can't honestly be another set already. Wizard, stop! I was just at a pre-release like an hour ago. There's nothing left. I don't even have a wallet to show you that's empty because I sold that off. Think of the children's college funds because those things are taking a hit this year. Okay, time for another pre-release guide for Core Set 2020. And with core sets, I think it's fair to mention the deck building theory of CABs. It stands for cards that affect the board state, which means creatures, combat tricks, and removal. You may have heard of bread while drafting or building your sealed deck. Bread is bad. Forget bread in every context possible. Wow. What was that thing? Right. CABs. Creatures, combat tricks, removal, which also means we don't want to splash. We just want great, solid cards that affect the board state. Problem is, at pre-releases, I can't help myself. And this set has a lot of spicy goodness going on in it. If you want to take the discipline route and go CABs, best luck to you. But if you want to do some 5-color fun stuff, high five. High five. Seriously though, this looks like easily one of, if not the best core sets of all time? Is that fair to say? Am I crazy for thinking that? Do you agree? I mean, okay, moving on. Let's check out the cards that we need to keep an eye out for our pre-release. And hey, if you like the video, please like and comment because it really, really, really helps. Thank you. Let's get into it. Our pre-release kits will have all the usual stuff, 6 packs, a foily date-stamped promo, and a spin down. Cool. No new mechanics to worry about, but protection from a color is coming back. There's reminder text to help, but it basically means if you have protection from your opponent's color, you will be very happy. If they have protection from your color, you will be very sad. Someone who is not sad is anyone who is a fan of Chandra, because this set basically has her life progression outlined with her 3 different cards, from growing up to being friends with elementals, all the way to wanting to become one herself. Elementals are quite common in this set, and we even get a cycle of mythic rare ones. Other cycles, the ley lines have some repeats and some new ones, and new colored artifacts. We even get some spiciness like these 3-color crazy mythics. Spice has intensified, my friends. This is not your grandparents' core set, I'll tell you what. Now, typically with core sets, you want to stick to the basics and only play 2 colors, but this set just has so much going on, it's going to be hard to resist that temptation, especially since we have some great mana fixing with the common tap lands, Evolving Wilds. Now, any 2-color pairings will work as expected in a core set, so I'll touch on some of the best commons and uncommons to keep in mind for each color, then show the signpost gold cards, which can help pull you into the color pairings that work best for your card pool. For white, we have a good amount of life gain, removal options, and token creation. We also have a lot of flying, and you can look to the angels to give you that holy moly strong board presence. Aerial Assault, Pacifism, and Eternal Isolation are always solid plays. The gold cards that share white would be Empyrean Eagle for blue-white, because blue-white flyers is as constant an archetype you'll find in Limited. Then Corpse Knight wants us to get as many bodies onto the board as possible to drain out our opponent if we go black-white. White and red, which was one of the strongest color pairings in Core Set 2019, is back, looking to go wide with combat tricks, but also flying threats as well. Our gold card here creates us a 1/1 attacking token every time it attacks. This card is very good. Then white-green is bringing some powerful threats that want to reward you for a wide board with their gold card, Iron Root Warlord. Okay, onto blue, we have solid tempo options, the lovable counter spells, and creatures that give us the ever-enjoyable bonus value. Blue is control, and this set is no different, allowing us to win the tempo game or gum up the board and win through evasion and card advantage. I like solid plays like Octoprophet because it's a great name for a creature, and it gives you a solid body that helps your future draws. Brineborn Cutthroat rewards you for playing instant speed spells and can make for some great interactions if timed well. Also, Renowned Weaponsmith gets us actual weapons like these, so it's obviously a must play. Our gold cards for blue and black, as always, want us to control the board through removal and instant speed interaction. Prime example is Tomebound Lich, which looks super strong and can help as an offensive or defensive threat. Blue and red are pretty keen on the elemental line, wanting to apply pressure early and often and find a lot of high value and synergistic cards between them. And blue-green always wants to make the biggest thing on the board, and one way to do that is ramping, which Risen Reef does very well. If you have enough elementals in the deck, you can get some crazy card advantage off it alone if it manages to stick around. Black is unsurprisingly aimed at, in a way, filling graveyards, not because it's going to win off that, but because black does what it wants. Removal is always key and limited, and thankfully we've got good options here to make sure we can respond to just about any threat our opponent tries to play out. Murder at common, Disfigure at uncommon, just wow. There's also a lot of life gain and or death touch creatures too, with other threats that keep getting bigger, like Bloodthirsty Aerialist, or a creature like Audacious Thief is an amazing play because your opponent will need to remove it ASAP to stop you drawing cards, meaning you can get a lot of value with instant speed interaction. This feels like it certainly rewards you with aggro strategies, assuming you can get a trick or two to defend it. But then going to look at the gold cards, Black-Red looks like a very strong aggro combo with Ogre Siegebreaker, allowing you to finish off any creature at any point in the game that has taken damage. Black-Green also just wants to see stuff die, because when one of your creatures does go to the graveyard, you get a new card and gain a life with Moldervine Reclamation. And then looking at Chandra, red, half the cards have her name in them, so I could see plenty of people making the same mistake. Anyway, we've got her and her elemental friends and a whole lot of fire to go around. And who likes fire? Goblins. This color has some great top-end plays, but is really looking poised to build for the early game with those quick threats and pairing those with strong combat tricks. Goblin Ringleader is a great play if you play at least 6 or more goblins in your deck, because if it misses, playing a 2/2 with haste for 4 mana is not good. But if it draws you a goblin or two, then you're going to be pretty happy. Tricks like Infuriate and Uncaged Fury can really lead to some blowouts, and Reckless Airstrike can stop us from losing to some threats that are too afraid of our ground game. And Red-Green is as all-in on the elemental creature type as any archetype in the set, as we can see here with Creeping Trailblazer. And finally for green, we have awesome pump spells, creatures that pump themselves up, and the best artwork and cutest card in the set. You also win the game if you play Ferocious Pup because it is unforgivable to harm this guy in any way, meaning your opponent has to concede. Cards like Thrashing Brontodon I really like because it's a strong 3/4 body for 3 mana, but it's versatile because it can remove that pesky artifact or enchantment without us having to sacrifice other playables in our deck. Woodland Champion needs to be dealt with because you have to assume this card is going to grow quickly. Green always wants the biggest and baddest. It's nice we have at least one removal option with Rabid Bite, and then Plummet for those pesky flyers. In a way, this format is forcing us to sideboard as well. Great options are Devote Decree, Aethergust, Noxious Gasp, and Fry, because these are all really strong cards, but feel real bad if you have no targets for them. Veil of Summer is in this group as well, because it's basically useless if you don't have an opponent playing blue or black. So after that first game, bring them in from the sideboard if your opponent is playing a color that would fit these cards. Sideboard, people, it really will help you become a better player. Now for some first impressions, ranking the colors. In tier 3, I don't have a color, because I don't think any of these look significantly underpowered, although red and green seem the most, I'll say, suspect, but I've moved them up to tier 2 with white and blue. White actually seems pretty strong in the set. I was very surprised to see that. Blue always has good cards, it seems, but in tier 1, by itself, I have black. And with that, I wouldn't say any of the color pairings look significantly weaker either, especially in sealed. It's really going to come down to your card pool, but Wizards is doing a nice job of giving each archetype in a set a strong line of play. I will say the ones I'm most excited to try out are blue-black, white-green, blue-green, and in a draft, all the wedges to build around in the set. I'll touch more on wedges during my draft guide, so keep an eye out for that. The one thing you need to know in this set is that there's a pretty big change coming to the mulligan rule. The London mulligan is now the norm from here on out. Current mulligan, the Vancouver mulligan, is where you draw 1 less each time you mulligan, scrying 1 once you keep. With the London mulligan, you always draw 7, but if that first hand you don't like, you shuffle it back in, you draw 7 again. But if you just mulliganed, you would put 1 card on the bottom. If you mulligan again, you draw 7 again, put 2 on the bottom. So you still end up with 1 less card, but this way you get to see more information to better decide if you want to keep that hand or not. So what are your thoughts? What's the card you hope to get as your promo, or what's the deck you're most excited to play with at your pre-release? Best of luck. Definitely let me know how your pre-release does go. If you have any questions, please feel free to come back. Let me know. Always happy to help with that. If you'd like to help me out, hit that subscribe button, or if you're feeling really generous, check out my Patreon page, because that goes way further than you would think. Thank you so much. It's late. I'm exhausted. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my god! I'm okay. I'm okay. We're good. We're good.